This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and Three Counts.
We got a new world champion.
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and Three Counts is the podcast, baby. It's the real deal, baby.
Knockouts and Three Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? It's a Thursday. It's another episode of Knockouts and Three Counts, bringing you that podcast gold, even though I was just passed out watching a little Dusty versus Ric Flair, but shit, we're back and ready to go, and we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're talking a lot of pro wrestling, but we're going to be talking Justin Pilgrim's final purge and all that shit that goes down at Flophouse July 17th. Like I say, man, happy to have you on the show. We've been talking about it for a little while. Like I said, it'll be good to have you on. Sucks it has to be for your last match, but I figured as good a time as any to test that out. So before we get going, if you got any social medias you want to throw out or anything like that you want people to follow you on, all that good shit, let them know.
I mean, really, just all of my social media, you can just find official Justin Pilgrim, basically. Facebook is official Justin Pilgrim. I actually just changed my Instagram to horror style, so you just have to find that. And then like YouTube is Justin Pilgrim, Twitter's Justin Pilgrim. It's all Justin Pilgrim.
Hey man, I like it. Corey, I want to know how it is that we were just together about 20 minutes ago and you were like, let's make sure we get in early and all that shit, and then you still ended up in this bitch 2 minutes before we started.
Do you understand what it's like to have children, Kyle? That's
fair point. That explains it. That needed all. That's all you had to say. I didn't say what the answer was. I just said, how the fuck were you the one that suggested let's talk a little bit before we get on the show, and then wow, just kidding.
Like I continue to use this analogy because it's always fitting. Life gets in the damn way sometimes, and that's what happened to me there.
Oh shit, I just realized I totally just shared the wrong show out onto my social medias. But anyways, I shared the one that from Tuesday with our buddy. Hey man, well, you know, there's more than one of us with social media, sir. But anyways, we had a good show with Ryan McKinnell this past Tuesday. We were talking all things that went down with Ring of Honor Best in the World and UFC 264 and the end of Conor McGregor, possibly, but we'll have to see what happens with that. But like I said, tell me a little bit about, before we get into the match at Flophouse, man. I guess my first question is, you know, I know you started out in Kansas and all that good stuff, so give me a little bit of a background in to what got you into pro wrestling, and tell me a little bit about Justin Pilgrim, man. Is it like an alter ego for you? How did that all come to be about?
Well, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life since I was like 3 years old. Can we cuss on this? Because sometimes I
go ahead.
All right, cool. So like I've been watching since I was 3 years old, right? And that's just like a bonding thing my dad and I had, because we would always watch Monday Night Raw and flip back and forth between Nitro and watch all the pay-per-views, WCW and WWE pay-per-views. And I always loved it, man. I always really wanted to do it. It's always been a dream of mine. And back in like 2008, I started doing some training with this guy named Bobby Starr. And 2009, I had my first official match. And then wrestling kind of closed down a little bit in Kansas. There wasn't a lot of wrestling going on. And after 2009, and then around, I want to say 2012, 2013 is when it started picking up again, is when I started wrestling again. And then I moved here in 2015, and here we are.
So, go ahead.
You say that 2013, 2014 is when things started to pick up back in Kansas. Were you kind of doing it, not necessarily full-time, obviously, but doing it as like a consistent gig at that point?
Yeah, I was doing it like on the weekends. I would wrestle for this company, XWE, and then they kind of went under, and then they're back around again. But And then I went to WWX, World Wrestling Express. I was wrestling there. That's where I was actually wrestling before I moved here to Michigan.
So tell me a little bit about that. You know, you said you started in Kansas. You know, what prompted the move to Michigan, and what was the biggest difference you saw once you came over here from somewhere like Kansas?
Hold on, buddy. Kansas, I would say, is more like old school storytelling, story-based wrestling. They're not really like, I mean, there's a lot of spot monkeys there, but there's more focus on storytelling. And Michigan, I would say, is more spot fest. I mean, there are some old school storytellers here and there, but from what I've noticed, Michigan is more of a spot fest than storytelling, as opposed to Kansas being the opposite. Me moving here was my wife. We met on Instagram, and then I came up here to visit, and I was like, fuck, I'm just going to move here. So like a month later, I just moved here.
Hey man, sometimes it be like that, and clearly things are still rocking good for you and Mrs. Horror Style. So with that being said, tell me a little bit about what's going into, you know, Corey. I mean, this was something that stuck out to you. I mean, tell me a little bit about this match as we go into Flophouse, and, you know, tell me a little bit about what went into the decision for it to be your last match.
Well, I mean, to be straight up honest with you, I've lost my passion for it, man. Just all the drama and the stupid bullshit behind the scenes and all the backstage stuff just kind of getting to me. And I mean, I don't know if you've listened to my interview with Dan from Pro Wrestling Edge, but like,
shout out to the homies.
Hell yeah. I just feel like there's been some times that I've been overlooked and I've been pushed to the side when I shouldn't have been, and I'm kind of done with it. I kind of just want to be a family man. As far as this match at Flophouse, dude, I'm so fucking stoked for this match, because my whole 12 years that I've been wrestling, like, I mean, granted, it hasn't been consistently the whole 12 years, but from 2009 to now, the only match that I've ever wanted to have in my career was a fucking cage match. And I got the opportunity to have it, and I got the opportunity to pick my opponent. And I figure what a better way to go out with the last match and facing the Carver. I mean, he's up on the up and coming, and he's super impressive right now. So I'm excited to step into the ring with him.
So that what up though, before I get anywhere else, shout out to past guests of the show, John T. Keith, checking us out, and congrats on the marriage, sir. Hot damn.
Hell yeah,
congrats.
Dude. Welcome to the club, baby.
Yeah, man. Congrats on the marriage, kind sir. But yeah, man, I can completely understand that. But man, did you pick a hell of a last match to do? Now, did you specifically go into this match wanting it to be a cage match? Or, you know, like, was that like something on the bucket list for you? Tell me a little bit about that, because I mean, picking a guy that looks like the Carver, I mean, like you're about to fight a motherfucker outside a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, I'm just saying, a cage might not have been the fucking match that I might have picked to fight this dude. So tell me, why the hell did you pick a cage match?
I mean, I'm crazy. At the beginning of my career, I was known as a psychopath. And sometimes that gets to come out a little bit to play. And like I said, man, I've always wanted to have a cage match, and I've never had the opportunity to have it. And the opportunity presented itself, and it got taken away from me. And a lot of people were super fucking pissed off about that, including the Carver. And we got it set up with Flophouse for the same exact match. So I said, let's do it.
Well, Corey, what are your thoughts on going into a cage match with a dude like the Carver, bro?
I couldn't imagine, just the name alone. I mean, throws intimidation at the books for sure. But what a way to
not to mention he's fucking huge.
Yeah, that too for sure. I was taking a look, but not only that, what a perfect way to put a bow on the career, man. Is like you said, kind of get a checklist out of the book. You definitely if you have the dark side in you, you got
exactly that.
Out in the dark in the last match, you know, and a cage match is like the most fitting match for something along those lines. So I'm excited for it myself.
With that being said, that brings up a good question. I mean, you're doing this match with you're doing this match with Flophouse. My question being, what's the scene been like since you've been back, since pandemic started to go around? How do you think things have shook out as far as yep, I can hear you. Are you good? Uh-oh, I can hear him. I think there you go. It looks like you might be back. You good? Uh-oh. Corey, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Man, I hate my fucking internet. Yeah, I can. You guys are just really choppy right now, but
I can. All right, good. As long as you can hear us, I'm like, I can still hear him fine.
Yeah.
But no, what I was gonna say though is you're wrestling with Flophouse for this match. I mean, what's been your standpoint since we've come back from the pandemic? Like, how do you feel like the indie scene has kind of recovered thus far as we start to make our way out of the pandemic with the shows you've gotten to do this far? We'll be froze again.
Oh, we got you back.
You there?
Hold up, brother. Hold up. Hold up.
All right. While he fixes his internet, Corey, all right, let's see. Jonte in the comments. Free show. Have your last match the way you wanted. Yep, I can hear you. Are you good?
All right.
Oh no! Down goes Frazier or down goes Pilgrim. All right. So, Corey, I'm going to pose this question to you because there he's back. Let's see what we got. All right. Are you good now?
Any better?
Can you hear us?
Hold on, guys. I got to get my...
All right. We'll go on, Kyle, while we're waiting.
Yeah, what I was getting at is if you were going to be in a purge, if we were going to be in a purge, what would be your weapon of choice? And why? You get to pick one weapon. What are you picking and why?
Son of a bitch, dude. You guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
We can hear you the whole time.
We've heard you the whole time.
You guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
God damn it.
Here, try unjoining and rejoining. All right, I'm going to let him figure out what he's got going on with his internet issues.
While you give me a second to mull over this question, because that is a significant question, I want to know what your weapon of choice would be.
Well, I'm trying to, I mean, if we're in a purge, bro, if we're in a purge,
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
We're here, bro. Can you hear us? You good?
Yeah. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We've heard you the whole time.
Through the struggles.
Yep, we can hear you the whole time.
You guys were just like, it was really choppy. My internet kind of sucks, so.
Hey, man, that's one of the things we've been having to learn about here to have to deal with all these new surroundings since COVID. But that was leading into the question I was asking you. I mean, how do you feel the indie scene around here and just in general? How do you feel like it's rebounding now that we're starting to come out of pandemic with all these shows and stuff?
Oh, dude, I think it's rebounding really fucking well. There's a lot of shows going on. I mean, just look at all the shows that just happened like within the last month or so, dude. I think it's going to be a big resurgence, especially with all the COVID restrictions getting released, getting pulled out in other states too. So I think now that all the COVID restrictions are going away, that wrestling is just going to have this big resurgence, man. There's going to be so much money to be made for everyone.
Well, you had really.
Hey, man, go ahead.
You had really seen before the pandemic had hit that the indie scene was at an all-time high. So I could definitely see it trending back in that direction as long as they're able to, gain those fans back that may have been lost during the pandemic. But I don't see that necessarily being an issue. So.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So while you were getting your internet situated, I was informing Corey that you're part of the group, The Purge. First of all, tell me a little bit about that and how did you link up with Sean Tyler and all them? And then I'll pose the same question to you, which is really who I'd like to hear what your weapon of choice would be. But I was asking Corey, if we were in a purge, you get to choose one weapon. What's it going to be and why? So first of all, tell us about how you got into the purge, and then I pose the same question to you.
Okay, well, first off, it started at Horror Slam. Briar and Rachel were going to do a show called The Purge, but they were going to put, I think their original idea was to put Sean and I together as a tag team. It was like some kind of vampire tag team, because originally Horror Slam was supposed to be a gimmick show of horror characters.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean and I were supposed to be a tag team of vampires. Cool, whatever. I think we could have made it work. And then they were going to do this purge show, and I used to have this really dope purge mask with the green X's on the eyes and the mouth all stitched up and stuff, and it lit up. So I was like, hey, I got this perfect mask for this idea. So I think the purge was originally going to be Kevin and two other people, but they weren't sure who the two other people were going to be, so they put Sean and I with him. And man, ever since that first night we were together as the Purge when we debuted, dude, we clicked and we became friends outside of the ring. Like we hang out at each other's houses and have barbecues and all that good shit. Like they know my son loves them, and my wife hangs out with their girlfriends and whatnot. But yeah, dude, I mean, we just formed this really strong bond, and it's been magic ever since. I think we set the scene on fire for a while. As far as my weapon of choice, I don't know. I think my butcher's hooks are pretty good weapons.
Pulling some shit out of like Kane from See No Evil and shit.
That was part of that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was part
all
of
right. So all right. That's kind of why I wanted to ask that. So I remember that vividly because I remember we went to WrestleMania 23 when it was Kane versus the Great Khali, and I remember. You remember how creepy the promo for that movie was, man? Like when it first came out, the way they like tried to do like their commercials and shit. Like I'm like, damn, dude. Like, Kane was the perfect motherfucker for that role. I'm just gonna say that with the contact and the no pupil in his eye, he was a weird looking SOB. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's one of my favorite horror movies, man. Honestly, it's one of my favorite slasher movies. It's so fucking good.
All right, Corey. So now that we've asked him if you could choose one weapon, if we was all going to have to be in a purge, what's it going to be and why?
I feel like, so is this all like one kit here? Because if we can go like kitted out here, I feel like I want to go like old medieval knight style minus the joust. I want like a shield and a mace in one hand with the full armor get up, so I can't be fucked with too bad. I feel like that's the real thing that a lot of people's kits would be lacking is some defense. So
that's a good point.
That's a good point. Defensive-minded way, I'll be able to fuck everybody up. Hopefully, you know.
If they can't get through your armor, you just walk through the zombies, huh?
That makes sense.
I mean, it's a good thought. Well, now that I've gotten to hear both your ideas, and then I can just form the rest of my idea. If we're going into a zombie apocalypse, bro, I think I want, since we play a lot of zombies, I want some kind of gun that's got like the specialty bullets for the hoes. And now listening to Corey brought up a good point. So then, however we're going to do this, whatever kind of purge this is going to be, I want a gun with that kind of ammo, and then I want some kind of armor that you can't just bite through, because I feel like a zombie would like be trying to bite into you and shit. Or if you're just killing each other, I mean, then again, at least you got a little bit of something to cover you up, kind of like that D'Lo Brown chest protector back in the day. I come suited and booted in this bitch. We're going, but Yo, so talking about this being your first cage match and that being something that you've wanted to do for so long, do you have any favorite cage matches that are influenced for this, or anything that you're watching to kind of, grab inspiration from? Because I mean, for a guy who, is part of the Purge and things like that, I mean, it seems like a cage would be a perfect canvas for you to do your thing on. So what's your favorite cage match, and is there any inspiration from those that you're pulling?
Man, I knew you were going to ask me that too.
I asked the good questions in this pitch.
I'm not good with like dates and like naming.
All I need to know is who's in it.
All right. Shit, dude. That's a hard one. I really enjoyed the cage match with Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt when Daniel Bryan got that concussion, but you couldn't really tell that he had the concussion because he just kept whooping fucking ass.
You mean the one where he was in the jumpsuit, right? That was the one where
when he was trying
to get him to be the
Bray Wyatt family. Yeah.
Okay.
When he was brainwashed or whatever. Yeah, that's one of my favorite cage matches. I like the lockdown matches in TNA.
Okay, see, so now that's funny. A lot of people were very critical on lockdown. So Corey, just to fill you in, just so you guys, those who watch the show know what's up, Corey is getting reacquainted to wrestling. So TNA had this lockdown structure, and what lockdown was there's a top on the top of the cage, not like Hell in a Cell, but because it was a 6-sided ring. So you have, and they did the pay-per-view to where all matches were in cages, which in my personal opinion, I like the concept for the lockdown match, but I thought like having every match in a cage was kind of overkill.
It seems like it would wear the nostalgia or the facade of like how special a cage match is. By the third or fourth match, you'd kind of lose that. But go on.
But yeah, I just was trying to paint the picture for you so you could see what kind of cage we're going for. If we're talking about like favorite cage matches, dude, I mean, I think for me, it's so my favorite growing up was Stone Cold. So, like I was a big fan of like the stuff we seen between like The Rock and Triple H when The Rock was kind of like at that end phase of the Nation. And then, when they were going for the IC title back in like 98, 99, I was always a big fan of the cage matches that had the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian in it, because Jeff always was jumping off the top of that bitch.
That was my pick for nostalgia was the Hardy Boys. I remember quite a few of their cage matches, but go on.
I mean, I don't know how you can watch them and not be a fan of it. But, I mean, that's what's going to be cool about this Flophouse card, bro, is they've got a little bit of everything on there. So tell me a little bit about Flophouse and why Flophouse was the perfect place for you to, have this cage match against the Carver.
Well, I've never been to Flophouse, so I can't really say much about it. From what I've seen of it, it looks fucking amazing. Looks like just a giant party with wrestling, and that looks just fucking awesome. Yeah. But I wanted it at Flophouse because, I mean, the Carver is over as fuck at Flophouse right now, and I'm really good. I'm real good friends with Schwartzy, and we were talking a little bit, and he was real upset about what happened with the whole TKW situation and how my match got pulled out because of all that stupid shit. And
I still don't know the whole story with that. I just saw that the show like basically self-imploded, and I was like, what the fuck happened, man? So
man.
I'm glad that it's getting to happen, but I did see everything kind of go south when they had that all booked the first time.
Yeah, it sucked, man. I hate people who steal money, and that's basically just what happened. Someone stole a whole bunch of money from some of the people, and it didn't go over well. I mean, then there was some other backstage stuff, like people that were on the flyer that weren't even contacted to be booked. Shit like that.
That's always fun. Fuck it, so-and-so's gonna be here.
Yeah, let's put them on the flyer. Maybe they'll show up.
Joe Blow's in the main event.
Card subject to change. We're gonna have Chris Benoit here.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Here we go. Damn! Cue the Chris Benoit comments. You bastard! Don't talk about Chris Benoit.
I'm sorry, it just came out. I just saw him and Kurt Angle in a tag team match. It just came out.
All right. After our joke with Ryan McKinnell on Tuesday, I'm going to leave that alone. But you saw that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, but no, dude, Chris Benoit's the shit. I don't like anything he did, but I could still watch him in the ring. Like some people can't, but I was such a fan of that stuff as a kid. I mean, I see it for what it is, but I mean, hey,
it's so weird, right? Because that was like the move that I would always replicate when I was a kid was the forehead yank on everybody. You know, grip him by the forehead and just yank it. To see the way the whole story played out, of course, it took a very dark turn. But man, his whole career, it's hard to. It's like the Michael Jackson thing, you know. Obviously, it's completely different, but it's kind of similar in that, you know,
the guy's talented as shit, but his antics outside the ring.
Yeah, can you still enjoy the music? Is kind of can you still enjoy the entertainment that Chris provided when he was in the ring? So. I don't know.
I hope his kid ends up wrestling, man. I've been hearing about it for years. I've heard him say in multiple interviews that he wants to, and I know that he was training for a little bit with I forgot who it was. I think with Jericho, matter of fact. And I don't know, man. I hope maybe somewhere down the line we'll see David Benoit in there. But you know, as we go towards Flophouse and this being your last match, I mean, how do you think after everything's all said and done, like? How much do you think you're still going to be staying connected to wrestling? Is it wrestling as a whole, or do you just, you know, are you wanting to be out to have more time with the family? Like, are you still going to be watching as much wrestling once you're out the business?
Yeah, I'll always watch wrestling. I'll never stop watching wrestling. I love it too much to stop watching it. I just don't love it enough to do it anymore, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So like I don't think I'll ever officially like 100% leave the business because it's got such a big piece of my past with my dad, and with my dad not being around anymore, like that it's something that I try to hold on to as much as I can and like as hard as I can. And that's honestly one of the only reasons I've continued to do it is because it makes me feel like I'm closer to him. So like it'll always have a place in my heart, but it's just, I don't know. I don't want to do it anymore.
I respect it. Well, I mean, if it shows the level at which, you know, you're a fan, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you name your son after Jericho?
I did. Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother level of commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. My firstborn, well, I mean, I have 3 daughters back home in Kansas, but this is my firstborn son. And I mean, I wanted to name him after my dad because I was named after my dad's dad. So I kind of wanted to keep that tradition going, but Chelsea didn't like the name Gary. She said it sounded like an old man name. So, so I was like throwing out other names. And I mean, I honestly threw out Ric Flair. I just kept throwing out wrestling names.
We're just gonna name him Nate. That's what we're gonna name him. We're gonna name him a little Nate. He gonna be the real little Nate, not like Charles Robinson.
Hell yeah. But she liked Jericho, so we stuck with Jericho. And I mean, and Jericho is honestly in my top. I mean, him and Ric Flair are my top 2 favorite wrestlers. So I'm glad she went with Jericho. I mean, I love Jericho so much that I fucking went and commissioned a custom WWF World Heavyweight Championship from after he won it, when he became the undisputed champion.
Yep. Hey man, that was one of my favorite belts. I feel like that belt doesn't get enough credit as far as to like nice belts, because I mean, for real though, I mean, realistically, when I first started watching wrestling, that was the belt, because that was the one that Stone Cold got after he beat there you go. That was the one he got after he beat Shawn Michaels when they switched the title over after WrestleMania 14. That title debuted shortly thereafter. And I mean, so that was the title I watched him go at it with, The Rock, Triple H, all those guys. And then, as he said, you know, when Jericho did what he loves to remind us all about beating Stone Cold and The Rock in the same night. He became undisputed champion. For all of you guys that are coming in, if you got anything you want to talk to Justin Pilgrim about or anything you want us to ask, throw them in the comments and I'll get them out there. But with that being said, okay, you mentioned that Jericho is one of your all-time favorites as well as Ric Flair. So what is it about them in general that stuck out to you that makes them your favorite? Because I'm a fan of both of them, but I always like to hear the things that give people the influence on those things.
Ric Flair just basically he's the whole package, man. He was entertaining, he could wrestle, and he can go in the ring. And he was just so entertaining and stylish. And I think as a kid, that's what captivated me the most, was just how stylish he was and how entertaining he was. And like when he would go off on those rants and like shake his head real fast. Like that was one of my favorite things as a kid. Jericho, I thought he was really good. And like the first time I saw Jericho was in WCW, and he came out with Rufus and he did that whole 1001 holds list, and like they went to commercial and he was still reading off dude. I lost
that
my
was
mind.
gold.
I was like, no,
that
way.
Was gold. And the worst part of it is you go back and watch it now and can so tell that it's all just blank printer paper and shit, but it's awesome. It's awesome. Got just like a whole roll of printer paper, just old 1001 family Grenunzel.
Dude, he's so good, and just the way he reinvents himself, he's reinventing himself right now with the God of War thing that he's doing. Like he just did something new like 3 months ago, and he's already doing something. Thing. I mean, that guy can do. He made the word "it" get over. Like, tell me something Jericho can't fucking do.
He got a clipboard over. I mean, Let's face it. The list was the hottest thing in wrestling forever. You just made the list.
100%. And like I mean he gets a lot of credit, but I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves, especially with like as much that he can get over. Like Tony Khan, I just read an article where Tony Khan was saying that Chris Jericho is one of the most valuable people in professional wrestling. And I 100% agree. That guy has his name everywhere in professional wrestling.
Especially in the regard of AEW, just the fact that they were able to, like you had said, not necessarily like he had reinvented himself when he made his transition there, but he had just really turned that promotion into something worth watching, in my opinion. He was the shining star for them for a while, and in a lot of circumstances still is. So, definitely, I agree.
Yeah, and he's helping elevate the younger crowd, younger talent, like Orange Cassidy and all that. Like he's doing what he's supposed to as a vet, and I think it's fucking awesome. Like if I had the chance to sit under the Chris Jericho learning tree, you best bet I believe I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, well, there's definitely something that made him so successful in this business for as long as it has. Like that doesn't just happen by chance or by choice, and he worked for it.
Right, exactly.
Knows his ins and outs for sure. That's something that's been apparent for sure. So.
Exactly.
So, do you have a favorite match from both of them?
I mean, I don't really have a favorite match of Ric Flair. I like my favorite rivalry, like set of matches with Ric Flair would be with Ricky Steamboat. I love that. I love all their matches they had. I mean, even his retirement match with Shawn Michaels, that was a good match. That was a really good match. I mean, I cry every time I watch that match, and I already know what's going to happen. And with Jericho, I really liked his feud with CM Punk. But CM Punk is also one of my favorite wrestlers too, so I'm a little biased.
All right, so our show covers MMA. So, what were your thoughts on CM Punk's foray over into the UFC? Then?
Man, I mean, I give him credit for trying. I'll never discount him for trying. That's for sure. He got his ass whooped, so that kind of sucks. But I mean, at least he did it. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. So
I don't know.
I give him props for that. Definitely.
I don't know if you've seen the news, but just a couple weeks ago, his his loss to Mike Jackson was overturned to a no contest.
Why?
Oh yeah.
like 3 years later, it just now.
But why though? Like, I feel like
he failed a drug test or
because Mike
something like
Jackson tested positive for weed in Illinois.
no for weed
swear.
of all. Wow.
I wish I
For
could.
weed though.
So
For
the
all
boy
things you
is
you
not
came back 3 years later to
necessarily
take
all
this man's
lost.
W away for some weed. Good Lord.
Take his
Good
W
Lord.
away from some W. What a
Yeah, dude. Why
Yeah.
can't you let this man keep his W's, bro? What happened to the W like Whataburger? Come on, man.
They took our boy
Shit,
Jamal
man.
Hill's win away for a fucking smoking some weed.
And the worst of it is, I don't think CM Punk gives a shit one way or the other because it's still not going to come for a W for him.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he gives a fuck. I'd be like, oh wow, that was 3 years ago. What are you even talking about?
That's like when I seen the headline pop up on MMA Junkie, I'm like, why is this fight being discussed? And then I read it and I'm like, it's overturned to a what the fuck? Like, what took so long? Why are we just now discussing
Like, we didn't know that he failed a drug test for weed 3 years ago?
Right.
Like, hell, they pissed John Jones hot at the event every time. Come on, man.
Crazy, man.
Am I wrong? Like, they knew John Jones pissed dirty like in seconds.
Crazy.
It took you 3 years to find the metabolites of weed?
Hell, they threw the book at Nate Diaz, right? He's the one that always gets caught
Nick.
smoking weed. They always throw the book at his ass. Nick? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't follow UFC very much.
So Nick's actually getting ready to make his way back to the cage here. And matter of fact, it's on my motherfucking birthday. He's getting back in the cage against the ruthless one, Robbie Lawler, 17 years later. But yeah, let's see what Nick Diaz can do now that he's gotten back in the cage, now that his brother Nate's been playing the spotlight. Well, let's take it off of wrestling and MMA a little bit. I know that you like to get down on some motherfucking video games. So let's talk a little bit about video games.
Hell yeah.
When are we going to play Warzone again, bro? First of all, that's what I want to know. Because every time I talk to this dude, we got to get on some Warzone again or something. And then it's like we playing tag back and forth. So what are your games of choice right now? What are you playing on the box?
I mean, honestly, man, it's so hard for me to game like with friends right now because our living situation, like our living room and our bedroom are basically the same room, and so like I can't really talk when I'm playing games at night
because you can't wake nobody up. Yep.
Yeah. So that's why I don't really play with a lot. Like if I play during the daytime, hell yeah, let's get down on some Call of Duty, dude. I'll talk my head off during the daytime, but at nighttime it's hard because I have to talk real quiet like this, and sometimes people can't really hear me because of my beard. But dude, yeah, let's get down, man. I'll probably get on tonight after this interview, after everything's set up. I'll probably get on for a little bit.
Hell yeah, well, I'll be on there at some point. I actually will be making a guest appearance tonight on the Last Call radio show once I get done with this. So I am going to be on there a little bit later, but we could definitely make that happen. So other than Call of Duty, what kind of games are you getting down on the video game end of things?
I've been putting a lot of time into Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I have like 85 hours into that game. So, and I'm not even like halfway through the fucking main storyline yet.
That's a deep one.
Other than that, I've been I play Skyrim a lot. I like a lot of RPG games or wrestling game. I played. A lot of people hate it on 2K20, but I mean, I love it. I haven't had a single problem with any glitches during that game at all. So I can't.
20 or 21?
20 or 20, whatever.
Are you talking about WWE 2K?
Yeah, WWE 2K.
Oh, dude, I had horrible time with glitches on that, man. Like I literally had it happen at least 3 different times in the story mode where it was one of those where you were invading NXT, or no, it was the Money in the Bank. Matter of fact, it literally glitched out in the same spot like 2 or 3 times in a row, and then or either that or like they would do the moves like extra slow. Like I don't know what they did with that shit, man, but I'm hoping now that I hear this talk of they're getting ready to do another game, I'm hoping they can get it together, because what's crazy is 2K19 wasn't that bad.
Yeah, 2K19 was dope. They completely rebuilt everything for 2K22. Like they've been working on it for the last 2 years. So that like everything's built from ground up from what I've read and understand from what I've read. Everything for 2K22 is built from the ground up. It's all rebuilt for this game. So I'm hoping they do some pretty dope shit with it.
I hope so, man, because it used to be a thing for me. Like growing up as a kid, dude, I remember when the first Shut Your Mouth came out on PlayStation 2, and I got a PlayStation in the game for Christmas, but they didn't get me a memory card. So I remember back in the days when you had to leave that bitch on so that you didn't lose all your. Dude, I will never forget back in the days in the basement where my punching bag's at now, dude. I'll never forget. I played that thing from whatever time it was on Christmas, like as late as I could possibly keep myself up. And I'm like, I got to leave it on there because the story modes in those used to be so long. You don't like you didn't want to turn it off, or you were gonna have to do it all over again. And then my dad goes, well, I went down there and it was so hot, I thought it burned my hand, so I turned it off. And I'm like, no,
no, all that hard,
no, all that shit, you bastard,
shit.
Yeah, dude. So I go ahead.
Think about all the electricity that we wasted as children because our parents were too cheap to buy.
And didn't give a damn either. Didn't give a damn. But Mom, if I turn it off, my game's gonna die.
Who cares? Redo it.
We wouldn't have burned 3, 4, 5 days straight worth at a time worth of electricity. So I blame it on them.
Dude, let me tell you, after that happened, she went and got me a memory card that night. It was like, nope, we're not doing this again. All right, so since we're talking,
many days?
So all right, let's talk about that a little bit. So as far as pro wrestling games, which one do you think is the best of all time, or what's your favorite one? That could be Nintendo 64, PlayStation, 2K.
My favorite old school one would have to be either WCW NWO Revenge or
No Mercy.
WrestleMania 2000. Didn't they
that
do
one too? Yep.
Yeah, that one was a good one. As far as like the newer generation games, I like WWE 2K13. That was one of my favorite ones.
Dude, it was rest in peace to first of all, while I'm saying rest in peace, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. We lost him earlier this year. The man was a great. But my buddy Ray from Texas, man, Corey, you remember how bad I used to fuck people up online with that shit? We'd get in parties, dude, and my buddy Ray lived in Texas, and we would get together and do like tag teams, and we'd get people so mad that they'd be like, we just beat the shit out of them for like a 25-minute match, but wouldn't pin them because we'd keep it going, and you're getting all these messages like, you bastard, get a life, and all this shit. And I got a kick out of it. That was back in the day when you used to be able to go in like the universe mode, and then you could like individually rank your guy up. So your guy would be like a 98, 99. And like we would go through and like pick all his moves. So I knew what every move did. And like, yeah, dude, those were the days. But for me, so the first one I remember playing was WCW NWO Revenge was the first one. And then I got No Mercy after that. I feel like the No Mercy campaign is like so underrated because it was long as shit. It was long as shit. And when you like, it was one of those games where like the difficulty actually like increased as you went along. Like once you got to the end and actually got to go for the belt, dude, it was a bitch. I remember it being a bitch and playing the hell out of it as a kid. So I don't know, man. I miss those days. Hopefully we can get a good run back for 2K. But speaking of the new games and all that stuff, you mentioned you're still an avid wrestling guy. I mean, what are your thoughts on what we got going on now? What are your go-tos as far as what we're watching, and what out of what we have going on right now is catching your eye?
You mean like on TV or just anything?
Yeah,
in general?
anything, whether it's Indies, Japan, AEW, doesn't matter.
I'm a real big AEW fan right now. I think I love what they're doing with. I just love their wrestling. I love their storytelling that they do. I think NXT is better at their storytelling, so I'll watch them a lot too. it's hard for me to watch wrestling now because I don't really have cable. So I watch a lot of streaming. So I'll watch all the NXT takeovers. I'll watch all the WWE pay-per-views. I have a subscription to IWTV, so I've been watching. Like I'll catch up on RPW on IWTV. I've watched Flophouse on IWTV, GCW, all that stuff. But like as far as like the mainstream stuff goes, I would probably choose AEW over a lot of the other stuff. AEW and NXT because those two are the best programs so far.
It's so funny to me from outside wrestling perspective to see the amount of fans that AEW and NXT get over the like main enchilada, I guess you could call it, in both SmackDown and Raw. It seems to be like tenfold that people are enjoying NXT and AEW more. It was genuinely surprising when I first heard it from somebody. I was like, oh, maybe he's just like a hardcore, there's always those people that are like diehards. Oh, I like this and I can't stand that. But this is like probably the 20th time now that we've interviewed somebody and I've heard the same type of sentiment. So it's genuinely surprising to me.
So to be 100% fair to answer that, so like Raw, I feel like most wrestling fans at this point could take it or leave it. But in my
really
Raw's gotten to be bad, dude. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I'm not going to go on like a big diatribe on it because I've done that plenty of times. But yeah, Raw has been harder to watch. Now, I would say if we're talking overall best wrestling product as a whole, I think NXT is the best overall because they have like all the action that AEW has, but it's almost like, how do you put it? It's like that hot young upstart is AEW, and then NXT is like that veteran that knows how to tie it all together. Good.
Yeah,
and I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. I think so. For those of us who have been watching wrestling for years, I think that's why NXT kind of sticks out because it's more what we're used to as far as like storytelling and like long-term stories. And it has the action of an AEW, but it's all kind of tied together. AEW, I feel like, is that young hot kid out on the block. But I think it's got like that energy feel to it. So with that being said, we've talked a little bit about it on the show. So I'll ask your opinion on that since you say that you're more of a fan of AEW. As we go into All Out, man, I've got Corey attending his first wrestling show since we were kids. He's going to be with me at All Out in Chicago. We did get tickets, even though I sat on the damn thing for 3 hours before they ever went on sale, and I still got fucked and didn't get tickets. Damn it, AEW, I need you to get it together with these bots, bro, because I was on there 3 hours early. 3 hours early, and I still didn't get tickets.
That's ridiculous.
But, hey, man, we got them. So as we go into All Out, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to? And what things would you tell Corey to look out for? Because I'm really excited to see how this dude's going to react because he's seen all the crowds on TV, but there's something different about an AEW crowd, much less an AEW crowd for like an All Out. I feel like AEW may have the rowdiest crowd out of any promotion. Now, to be fair, we have to see how Roman Reigns is going to do when SmackDown goes back to fans this Friday. I'm really interested to see how that's going to go because I feel like SmackDown has had a really cool product. But what are you looking forward to as we go into AEW All Out, all that kind of stuff? Because you said AEW is your favorite out of what we've been seeing in the current.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to say Jericho and MJF. That's going to be a dope. I think that's going to steal the show, honestly. I really hope they end up doing Hangman and Kenny because I'm really tired of seeing Kenny with that title, and I would really like to see that title on Hangman. But I don't think they're going to put the title on him yet. I think they're going to wait until their next big pay-per-view or whatever. I don't know. But those are the two matches. I'm hoping that Adam Page and Kenny Omega match because
that
I don't
match
think
will be fire.
That match hasn't been announced yet. I didn't watch.
So So here's what happened. So what we got going on is they did there's going to be a 6-man, I think, on Fighter Fest night 2. It's going to be Hangman and or no, it's 5-on-5. It's Hangman and 4 other members of the Dark Order versus Kenny, the Bucks, and Brandon Cutler. So if Kenny and them win, they're saying that Hangman's got to go. If Mrs. Horror Style is jumping in the comments. Hot damn. But like I said, so you've got that on one end for the Elite. If they win, Hangman doesn't get another title match. If Hangman wins, not only does Hangman get a title shot, so does some of the guys from the Dark Order get shots at the tag titles.
Oh, nice. That's cool. I hope that happens then. I didn't watch it last night, so
I'm looking forward to it, man. But I wonder, do you think they're going to make him the leader of the Dark Order? Because that's the thing that's been perplexing to me. Because like I get where they're going, but it almost seems like such an oddball fit at this point.
I don't think they're going to make him the leader, honestly. I mean, I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, and from a lot of the comments that Cody Rhodes has made, -1 is the actual leader of the Dark Order right now. So, however that's going to work, but I mean, that makes sense since he was Brody's son. But I don't think they're going to make him. I don't even think he's going to join the Dark Order. Honestly, I would like to see Johnny Hungy kind of break off from the Dark Order and team up with Adam. That'd be a dope tag team, I think. But like I said, I want to see Adam with that title around his waist too. So I'd like to see him with a really good singles run right now, because I think he has all the talent to be like a really top babyface right now, especially with Kenny as the top heel that Kenny's being. And I mean, they just brought in Andrade, and he's going to be a top heel. Fuck, Aleister Black is going to be a top heel, or Malachi Black, whatever his name is. But I mean, they're building up a lot of heels right now to have a babyface champion. So it makes all the sense of the world to put that title on Adam and fucking shoot his ass to the moon.
I couldn't agree more, dude. I've said since Hangman was in Ring of Honor, and for those of you who are new to the show, hit that motherfucking subscribe button, first off. Second of all, you can go back and check out our interview with Hangman right before he did his thing at Full Gear before the pandemic went to shit. But that being said, I've been saying since he was in Ring of Honor that Hangman was somebody that was going to be somebody people needed to watch. And another thing for you guys to check out if you're new to the show, if you guys watch Being the Elite when Hangman used to be on there as well, we actually had the couple that got engaged to be married here in Michigan on Being the Elite with Hangman helping set the whole thing up. That was a story in and of itself. Dead ass, man. Shout out to Harry and Laura. They had me and Devin come out to their wedding and everything. It was an experience, man. Knockouts and 3 counts goes all over the place, bro. But like I said, dude, it was something else because we were trying to figure out what the fuck's going on because they're all in the ring. It was at Royal Oak Music Theater for Ring of Honor, little house show. And they did the whole thing like this dude's proposing to his chick on the camera. And then we happened to run into him and talk to him because then there was another couple that we had met at a show that Evolve in Progress did together in Livonia. And like they had gotten married and somebody like stole all their like all the wedding money and shit, including their tickets to that show. So like Progress and Evolve reached out and got them like front row tickets. It's a great story. Make sure you go check that out. Since I know you just said you're a big wrestling podcast fan, go back and check out Knockouts 3 Counts when you get a chance.
I remember your interview with Hangman, but I didn't see that other one.
So that one was back in the earlier shows. You'll find that one. The video for it wasn't on YouTube, but you'll be able to find it on our podcast platform. Okay. Any of the podcast platform. But we've talked a lot about the pro wrestling scene and what we had going on there. We talked a little bit about your match at Flophouse. One more time before we let you get out of here, because it looks like you're going to get caught in the walls of Jericho if I don't let you go. So, I mean, see, he's already calling you out, bro. You can't retire. You gotta. I mean, shit, you've already got another challenge on the line. So before I let you get out of here, one more time before we get out of here, RPW and Flophouse are doing their thing. Tell people what they can expect come July 17th at Flophouse and what the Carver has in store for him getting in the cage. Chelsea just ground him. He's
that don't work with Jericho. He does this. He'll give me the finger. That's his version of the finger. He doesn't do this. He goes. He makes sure that you knows it. You know it too.
You see this finger? Fuck you, Dad.
Yep, exactly, man. And he gives you a glare too. It's hilarious. It's so, and he's got like a.
You got to get him a list, bro. You got to get him a list, bro.
I don't know where he got the Southern accent, but he goes, "Damn!" He adds like a twang to it. I'm like, what? What? But he says it the most appropriate time, so it's hard not to laugh. But anyways, July 17th, Indianapolis, Indiana, dude. The whole card from top to bottom for Flophouse and RPW is just stacked. This is going to be such a great show of wrestling. I mean, not even just my match, but like all the other matches on Flophouse. The fucking Mickey Knuckles versus Dread King, fucking the Purge versus the Jason and his boys. Like it's going to be a really great show. And then RPW bringing the death matches at the end of the night with Tommy, or not Tommy, is Vendetta going to be there? No, Akira, like all those other guys.
I've got the card right here in front of me. You've got, let's see, you've got Justin Kyle versus Tommy Vendetta for the RPW title. You've got, let's see, Dale Patrick's versus Akira Deathmatch Championship match inside Steel Carnage. You've got a Light Tube Madness death match between Neil Diamond Cutter and past guest of the motherfucking show, Randy West.
That's going to be a fucking match.
Dude, they've got some bangers on there. You got Cinderblock death match, John Wayne Murdoch versus Lord Crew. You've got Zach Thomas versus Cole Radrick, and then you've got Percy Drews versus Mitch Hewitt with JC Harvey. And Otis Kogar versus the homie, the Dread King, Logan. So, like I said, man, you guys are going to have a hell of a show come Flophouse, huh?
Yeah. Dude, it's gonna be a good show. I'm excited. My first night being there. My only night being there, I guess.
I have been corrected. Thank you, Brandon, for the update. It's not going to be Tommy Vendetta. In that one, Tommy Vendetta can't make it, so it's going to be Hardway Heater versus Justin Kyle now.
Yeah, I thought Tommy had something else going on that night. That's what I thought. But yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, the whole card from start to finish, all the way through the whole day is just going to be really good. And I mean, I plan on stealing the show with the Carver, and I know the Carver plans on stealing the show too. So, I mean, we're just going to go in there and beat the shit out of each other.
This always leads to the best matches.
Yeah, dude. Right? I mean, that's just what it's going to be, and it's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be dope, dude. I can't wait. I feel that Carver and I are going to put on a really good cage match, and it's going to be the talk of the night for a while, I believe.
I mean, with two guys like you guys in the cage, I feel like somebody's getting their head ripped off. We've gotten to see the Carver a few places like BCWA. We've seen him at Clash. We've seen him a few different places with Tommy Tresnick and things like that. So you have got quite the tall order for you July 17th, and you better watch out before you get put in the walls of Jericho over there. So until next time, and in the in-between time, make sure you check out Flophouse as fuck on July 17th. Make sure you check that out. Check out the steel cage match between this man, Justin Pilgrim, as he goes for one last purge against the Carver. Will he make it out alive? You got to turn into RPW and Flophouse to figure that out. So until next time, and in the in-between time, make sure you're back here live Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern as we bring you one of the legends of Michigan MMA. We have the Detroit superstar Darren Crookshank before he steps back into the cage August 6th on Fox Sports 2 at XFC 45. We'll also be joined that Thursday by the soon-to-be welterweight champ. It's about to get nasty in this bitch. Bobby Nash is coming back Thursday night. So until next time and in the in-between time, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And until next time, peace.